You gave up a TV job to start a podcast in your basement. If that doesn't scream midlife crisis, I don't know what does.
It was Championship Sunday here in Indianapolis. What's the mindset then coming in as a defending champion?
I want to win. No, I want to win.
The young lady over my shoulder, Caitlin Clark.
Not the best looking guy. And I don't think anyone's going to sit here and say, Matt Randazzo was really good looking.
What has this last month, 2 months, 3 months been like for you? It's an important fan base for the Fighting Illini, is it not?
It is.
He turned 69 years young last week. You look good, Coach.
Oh, try it. Thank you.
Welcome to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Thursday in the Quad Cities. Thursday, June 4th. The 4th of July is 1 month from today. Crazy how quickly the summer is going. Thank you guys so much for watching the show. However you're watching it, listening to it, partaking in the show itself. We thank you for that. If you're watching us live on YouTube, that's awesome. Thank you for that. Make sure you're subscribing. If you have subscribed, thanks. If you haven't, please do so ASAP. And then tell a friend or 2 or 20 about what we're doing each and every day at 10 a.m. off the air with Matt Randazzo. It's been a ton of fun, getting close to a year and a half of doing this crazy stuff, and it's been a lot of fun. And we're going to continue to grow this thing and have fun along the way as well. So we're also live on X. X has been very, very good to us as well. So if you're watching us on X, thank you. Make sure you're interactive on both YouTube, X. There's a chat going on YouTube. Everydayers are there, and then everybody hops in, asks questions, a lot to get to, so be interactive with the show as well. You're also watching us on the WHO streaming app as well. You can watch us there. Welcome to our viewers in Central Iowa. That's been a blast, nearly a year with WHO and doing the streaming app as well. So that's a beautiful thing as well. And then, of course, you can listen to the show each and every day on all the podcasting platforms: Spotify, iHeart, Podbean, X. X is not a podcasting platform, but Apple, all of them. Wherever you get your podcast, put it off there with Matt Randazzo and listen to the show each and every day. I tell people all the time, it's much easier to listen than it is to look at me. The guests today, especially the first one, probably want to look at this guy. He's a good looking guy. We're going to get to him in just a second. Some news and notes real quick before we get through what's going on today. Texas Tech, the softball team, loses game 1. Of course, Taylor Panel, Rock Island standout in the College Softball World Series. Game 2 coming up later tonight, so we wish her the best of luck. Also a change at Western Illinois when it comes to an athletic director. We'll have details on that a little bit later on the show as well. Coming up in a matter of moments, John Deere Classic Tournament Director Andrew Lehman will join us to talk about what's going to be going on in a month from right now. It's so close. The John Deere Classic, which is here in the Quad Cities, not in Chicago, we'll put that to bed and move on and look at what should be a great week in July when it comes to the John Deere Classic with Andrew Lehman in just a matter of moments. Also, golf this week is in Ohio, in a Columbus area, Dublin to be exact, a suburb of Columbus. Bobby Metcalf, who was a longtime Quad City sports writer, has covered the John Deere Classic for a long time. He's at the Memorial right now. He'll join us to update us on that golf outing. Again, not an outing, that golf tournament, and then do a few other things as well. We like to argue bears. Caleb Williams is on the cover of Madden. I'm okay with it because he's popular, not because he's good. We'll talk about that later in the show as well. Also, we'll look back this week, the best moments of this week. No show tomorrow, so we usually try to do a Friday rewind. We'll do that today on the show as well. So a lot to get to. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And as I mentioned, for the people that are listening and not watching, they can't see this guy. And in fact, that's weird. I just popped you up in the single box. Hold on, Andrew. Let me find the actual double box. That was a whole lot of Andrew Lehman. There's Andrew. How are you, my friend?
Boy, I tell you what, this I knew live television was tough. I didn't realize live podcasting was that hard.
This is all I got. It's just me, myself, and I, and my bobbleheads here hanging out in the loft. Busy week, normal week, just a regular week in June.
You know, we're 24 days away from tournament week, and our staff is grinding and putting the finishing touches on this and making sure we've got everything ready to go here. Monday at tournament week actually happens in June, so June 29th.
Yeah, so it's coming up soon.
Tournament week is still this month, which feels crazy to say.
Oh wow, that's right. How's my office look? Have you cleaned up? You're always pretty.
You want me to give the viewers a look of where you're at? We got the memorial on over there, but that's your home away from home.
Why is the memorial on and not this show?
Well, I like to watch golf outings in the early morning coverage. I'm not sure Jack Nicklaus would appreciate you calling the memorial a golf outing, but there you go.
Wow. All right. Well, Andrew, thanks for joining us. I appreciate your time. We're going to talk about the John Deere Classic and what's coming up. And I got an interesting thing I'm going to do with you. I'm going to give you because you've been there for how many years?
I celebrated back on May 15th, my 20th year of walking through the doors for my first day of work here as an intern. So this is my 20th year.
Okay, so what I'm going to do here in a moment is I'm going to give you big moments in John Deere Classic history, and I want you to tell me where you were when those moments happened. We're going to do that in a second, but okay. I do have to bring up, I guess you were in the news a little bit this week. Not you, but the John Deere Classic. I'll be the maybe millionth person to just put this thing to bed, to rest. There was a report this week. John Deere Classic has been asked to move to Chicago. When you hear that report, what says you?
Zero truth behind it. I understand journalism and sources, and I'm sure, Adam had sources that told him that. I don't dispute that. And, we're ready to put it behind us. There's zero factual evidence behind any of it. The tour hasn't talked to John Deere. They haven't talked to us. There is an event that takes place in Chicago, not annually, but there is an entire organization in the Chicagoland area that runs a PGA Tour event and, does it to benefit the Evans Scholars Program, which is an unbelievable program. And it's actually something that Claire Peterson's involved with at Davenport Country Club. So, the John Deere Classic is the Quad Cities, and Deere Run is the home of the John Deere Classic. And, we look forward to our event here in 24 days. And we know that we've got a spot on the schedule through at least 2030, with the agreement in place, and look forward to hopefully, 50 more years of the John Deere Classic being played in the Quad Cities. So.
Is that somebody calling to tell you they're going to play is it the outing?
It didn't say Scotty Scheffler on the call.
I was going to say, is that Spieth is out there playing right now, I think. Did you see his putt this morning? Was that this morning?
Yeah, I didn't see it, but I had a thing pop up on my phone that said he made like a 65 or 70 foot birdie putt or something.
He putt with the hole to his back.
Oh,
it was simply Jordan.
That's very
Jordan.
Spieth-like. I mean, yeah. Jordan. There's not many people that have the short game wizardry of Jordan Spieth.
Yeah, absolutely. Last one with the Chicago thing. How eager are you guys to just move on to what is in a month? I mean, that's maybe the frustrating thing as someone who loves the John Deere Classic is we've got an event to talk about. We have a week of Brad Underwood to Carrie Underwood to Old Dominion to the world's best golfers. How frustrating is it to have to deal with that when you have something that is that coming up in a month? Well,
isn't there an old adage that, all media coverage is good media coverage? It was a wild 36 hours. We'll leave it at that. And it was fun to read the comments. And that's the last thing I'll say about it. It was fun to read the comments because there's a real understanding from golf fans that were chatting online about the history of the property with it being, donated from, Deere to build the golf course, the longevity, the fact that John Deere is the second longest title sponsor on the PGA Tour. And, we talk about it all the time, the charity impact that's here. $206 million since 1971. 99% of that has been raised since John Deere signed on as title sponsor. And then when you get to the end of it, every year there's an economic impact that happens in this region and in this marketplace, and it's north of $75 million. So, wow. John Deere is the Quad Cities, and all those things are happening here as a result of John Deere sponsoring this tournament. So all of that has cast a wide net of, whether it's charity support or financial support over the Quad Cities. And, not to sound cliche, but those are all things that we can never take for granted. Those are all things that make the Quad Cities a better place to live, work, and play.
No, absolutely. Andrew Lehman joining us on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. We're talking golf with Andrew. I think people see Andrew on the show and they think, okay, they're talk Hawkeyes and football and basketball. No, actually talking golf when it gets this close. And I want to do our little game in a second, but what is this time like? I want to start with the field because it's always developing. You don't know things until, maybe much closer to times. But it's been a good field. And last year's field, outstanding. I think this year's field is shaping up to be a really good one as well. Your thoughts Big picture it for me as what are we, less than a month out? Your gut feeling, your thoughts on how this thing's coming together.
Well, players have until the 26th at 5 p.m. on that Friday, the week before, to either be in or out of our field. Tons of really positive conversations still happening with not so much the players at this point anymore, but certainly agents. And we're having, conversations with guys that are ranked in the top 50, or even some guys that are still ranked inside the top 20 in the world. And, there's no guarantee we'll get any of that across the finish line. We get a lot of questions about Brooks Koepka, and we're still monitoring that situation very closely. It's our first year of going from, actually, I've got Zach Johnson calling right now.
Do you really? He's probably like, get off Dazzo's show and talk. Seriously,
Yeah.
Take Zach's call. Take it now.
No, we'll call Zach back. But it's our first year of having a reduced field. We go from 156 to 144. And right now, the NCAA championships just ended up out in California this week. And we're trying to navigate, the sponsor exemption process and what that looks like. And as a reminder, we go from 8 to Barry's calling. We go from 8 to 4 this year. So it's been a lot harder process to navigate. But that's the thing. The sponsor exemptions is something that we take a ton of pride in.
Ignore him. We can hear the vibrating. Ignore him.
Yeah, sorry. We'll shut that one down. But it's a process that we take a ton of pride in with exemptions, because if you look at the longevity of this event and the history of this event, there have been some guys that have gotten their starts here, that have gone on, speaking of one, Zach Johnson, that have gone on to have Hall of Fame type careers and win majors. So you never know, when the next young guy is going to turn into a star and win the US Open. And those are all the relationships that we try to develop when they're just starting their professional journeys.
Okay, you just did two things that, one I do all the time and one I've never done. One, you ignored Zach Johnson. So Zach, he literally ignored your phone call. Barry, he ignored yours. I'm guilty of that probably as well. The Zach, I've never ignored Zach's phone call. Zach has never called me, but he has texted me. Andrew Lehman joining us right now and Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. What is it like for you? Because there are so much unknown. Is it just not getting too high or too low when it comes to the field? Dumb analogy, but like, when I try to get people to come to my dad's golf outing, like I get, last night I talked to Journey Houston. She's going to come work the basketball hole at the John Deere Classic and shoot with people as they come through. But you never know. You know what I mean? You hear I really would want to. I'd like to. I think I can. But do you get too high or too low when it comes to thoughts of this, or can you get too high or too low?
No, you can. And to your point, you're going through a similar process, and you'll even have folks tell you yes, and they'll put their name in, and then all of a sudden their name disappears. So you can never get too high, you can never get too low. I learned a long time ago, we don't necessarily honk the horn in the office. We've got an old bike horn in here. When something really exciting happens, we honk the horn and people come running from their offices. So, until we get to that advanced week and maybe finalize some of these conversations, we just kind of take it in stride and see how it plays out. And I'm really happy with the field we have, in place 24 days out. I would say it's highlighted by Chris Gotterup, Max Homa, and Ricky Fowler right now. And there's 27 guys on the list right now. I've got it pulled up on my other monitor, 27 guys that have won events over the last 2 years. Some really, really good young players. Michael Thorbjornsen, who is a former exemption of ours. Michael Brennan is he's going to be a star. He's in our field. And I think Jackson Koiven and Ben James both just turned professional they are turning professional after the NCAA is wrapped up. Both of those guys were exemptions here last year. I think we've got a really good chance to, possibly be Koiven's first start professionally. And as a reminder, from the stories we told last year, his dad was, grew up in the Quad Cities in Moline. So there was a connection there. Aldrich Potgieter, and I know Cecilia's talked about that. He's in the field. I think he leads the tour in driving distance. I look forward to watching him take on the redesign of number 4 because it's 340 to carry the bunker on the right, and I think he can do it. So yeah, we're excited about it. I think by the time we get to that last Friday of advance week, I think we've got a chance, and you never know how it's going to shake out, but I think we've got a chance to surpass last year's field of strength metric, which, as a reminder, was the strongest in John Deere Classic history going back to 1986.
Yeah, take that, Claire Peterson, right? No?
I'm sorry, you cut out.
I want to ask you about 4, and then we're going to play my little game. We were out there for media day. I think I birdied 4. I birdied 3, 4, 5, and 6. I think that didn't happen. But 4, it does look a lot different. That tree is gone. You mentioned carrying it because there's some fairway bunkers. Can you talk about how 4 looks, and then how's it coming? Because it was a work in progress. Is that safe to say on media day? But I'm sure everything will be fine before golf week. But talk to me about 4 and how it's looking right now.
Yeah, I went up there. I haven't been up there this week. Sod went down right after Champions Day, media day, when you guys were here. And I can't imagine the amount of water they're having to use with as warm as it's gotten. Thankfully, it hasn't been humid, which is a great thing for turf. And, it's a complete change from what it has been. And the Hewitt tree as number 4 has, really important significance to the property. This office that we work out of here, the Hewitts, had, and this was their summer home. So it's sad to see the tree go. And certainly that was part of DA's, routing and vision when they did the golf course in the late 90s. It's a big change. And I think it's going to go from one of the 4 easier holes to one of the 4 toughest on the golf course. Yeah. The landing area is small. If you're going to try to take the bunkers on, it's a really small landing zone. So there is some risk reward. If you do lay it back, I think it's a lot like 9. You're going to have a 210, 215 yard shot into a green where you can't miss left. Right's no picnic either. So I'm excited to see what the scoring percentage changes on that hole. And if you ask me, I would say it's going to play a half shot harder, which half shot doesn't seem like a lot on the surface, but a half shot's that's a big swing one way.
No, absolutely. Andrew Lehman joining us on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. So, all right, here we go. You've been there for 20 years, first as an intern, now the king of the John Deere Classic, sitting on your throne in your office. Where were you at when Steve Stricker made the putt to win his 3rd straight John Deere Classic championship?
So there's not a lot of golf you get to see during tournament week. You try your best to, maybe if you're having lunch at 3:00, if you even eat lunch, maybe pop out. I like to go out to 16 and just kind of sit in the shade if I get 10 minutes to do it. But Claire was always really good about telling us we all needed to be behind the green at the end of play. And that's a tradition we still do today. Our staff is down there as the leaders finish. So when he made that putt, we were probably standing about 30 feet away from him. And obviously it broke left to right as it came down that hill. But then just to see his reaction when he, the pumps like this, and we were standing right behind the green. So, saw the bunker shot come out of the bunker, and it was low and got to the back of the green, and then he makes the putt. So, that's, if I'm remembering right, Kyle Stanley had a chance to win that year. Yeah. And Kyle Stanley tried to play it safe on 17 and hit a 2-iron into the woods on the right. And what a different story Kyle Stanley, he's awesome. He's not a young guy anymore. He's my age, but awesome young kid at the time and awesome guy today. But what that would have been different had he not done that. And, Strick, I think Scotty's going for the 3-peat this week at Memorial. It's not been done many times. I think Tiger's done it a handful of times, and there's only like 6 players that have won 3 straight events in the history of the PGA Tour. So one of those happened here, and man, Strick was just so much fun to have in our field every year. And you and I have talked about that, what the days would be like when Stricker and Zach were playing on PGA Tour champions.
There you go. Well, you almost did. You look at it. I remember that year because you have TV wise, we have a half-hour show for the 19th hole, and we've got. It's just going to be a celebration of Steve Stricker, and it looks like it's going to be. So we have every bump in and out of a break of a different moment of Steve Stricker's reign as three-peat and all that. And all of a sudden, about 9 holes in, like Andy McKay messaged me, and he's like, "What are we going to do if he doesn't win?" And I never really heard a crowd cheer when someone does something poorly. You know what I mean? In golf, you cheer the pluses, but you never cheer if somebody missed. There were cheers when Kyle Stanley missed on 18. Like there were literal, I looked around like, you're not supposed to do that. So no, great moments. Here's a tougher one because that's obvious with it coming down to the wire. You're probably going to be congregating on 18. Where were you when you heard about Jordan Spieth's bunker shot? Did you hear about it later? Were you around? Do you remember?
I remember hearing the roar.
Okay.
But had no idea what had happened. And that shot's right over there over your right shoulder.
Yeah.
So I didn't see it live, wasn't anywhere in the vicinity, because he had done it fairly early, not early, but not closing in on 5 o'clock. Zach's the defending champion in 2013. He wins in 2012, and didn't Zach miss a chip? Or am I thinking? Yeah, well, there was a playoff in 13 that Zach was in.
If he's listening to this, I don't think Zach's ever missed a golf shot. He's that good. I don't want to get him mad. I
remember he fell over and laid on the collar of 18 green because the chip almost went in, and that was the playoff with. I'm trying to remember because Jordan was in a playoff with Gillis, and then he was in a playoff with Zach and David Hearn. I think the Zach and David Hearn playoff was 2013.
Yeah,
5 holes.
And
because David Hearn had about a 5-footer to win on 17.
Yep. No,
I'll tell you the pandemonium of what that was. I'm cutting you off.
No,
but
you're
here
good.
we go. The beauty of live podcasting.
Yeah.
The 5-hole playoff was insane because the tour has always played a playoff as 18, 18, and then they would go 16, 17, 18.
Yep.
Well, where does everyone go when people come through 16? They maybe follow on 17 or they go to 18. So the hillside's packed, and hospitality on 16 is empty. Hospitality on 17 is empty. People have left, and the playoff goes to 16. And I remember the chaos of the radio chatter because we had no security, and people are going up there, and they're stocked with beer and sodas and waters, and I'm sure we lost some money that day. But we haven't had a 5-hole playoff, at least in my era, outside of that. And with these concerts, we've asked the tour. There's kind of a new thing. They did it in, I believe, Canada last year for the first time, where they played 18 twice, and then Agronomy cut a different hole location, and you never leave 18. So.
Wow.
We asked the tour for that as well. We wanted to have that consideration because we have some pretty big music acts post play, and we didn't want people having to give up their spot to leave 18. So if we get into a more than 2-hole playoff this year, we will not leave 18. They will cut the hole on 18 and do it a little bit differently. So 18 is going to be where it's at.
Andy McKay is listening to this smiling someplace because he didn't have to run. I remember a couple things with that one is you mentioned on 17, David Hearn. I remember Andy has the best shot. They were crazy, and we had cameras everywhere, and his job was to just have the reaction of Jordan and Zach, and they were standing together. I think they both had their hats off, and they had their arms like this. And so Andy's just on that shot, and you watch him go this. He misses. They kind of look at each other. They put their hats on, and they kind of like shrug and keep going. And I remember seeing Claire when they were going to the playoff, and here's Claire running crazy like you usually are nowadays. And I said to Claire, I go, "Who are you rooting for?" And he goes, "I don't know." I go, "I can tell you who you're not rooting for." And he just smiled and walked away. And I mean that in the nicest to David Hearn, but like you had the best young golfer, one of the best young golfers in the game, or a beloved defending champion, right? Wasn't Zach going for?
And I'm struggling to remember.
That's
I'm hoping
2013. That's 2013.
Yeah.
Yep. And Zach won 2012. So, okay. Paul Goidos shooting a 59 in the morning on a Friday. Do you remember anything about that, where you might be, those kind of things?
I do. So I don't remember what year it was. Well, it was during the Stricker run. Was it 2013?
It was the last one, because Strick shot a 60 in the afternoon.
So that's what I was going to say. I was working our Open Championship charter desk registration that day and training. We normally have board members that take over that responsibility during tournament week. So I was in the clubhouse working that day, and word came out, and they were playing lift, clean, and place that day. Golf course was wet, had some rain, and I remember, because he did it early.
Yep.
And I remember going out and watching him make the putt to shoot 59, and how historic it's obviously historic anytime someone shoots 59, but it's happened today a lot more than it had happened then, obviously. Almost doubled the amount of times. And I remember late in the day, Stricker had a putt for 59.
Mm-hmm.
And so you go out and shoot 59, and you have a one-shot lead
over the two-time defending champion. Not just a one-stroke lead over anybody, but the guy who basically dominates the course. I had one more. Bryson DeChambeau wins, and he's up on the practice green when he eventually wins. Where were you at that year?
18. There's protocol that gets put in place when there's going to be a playoff, and not everyone goes to the range. I would say the majority of players go to the range to stay warm. There are people that prefer to get into the air conditioning and go up into the clubhouse, and but it's kind of crazy because you have all the television cameras around. But we had security up there with him, so I remember that moment being shown on the jumbotron. At 18 on the CBS broadcast. The funny thing is, I have a picture with Bryson after he won, and he was he's giving me bunny ears behind me. He was a young kid.
Do you know the year before that, what he was doing the year before he won? We were out there. Weezy and I were out at the Monday qualifier out at Pinnacle, and he didn't qualify. And we remember him not being too thrilled for not qualifying. And Weezy and I might have talked with him, but he wasn't overly thrilled, obviously. Because I remember asking him after he won in the interview afterwards, I said, do you know a year ago from now you failed to Monday qualify? And he's like, oh my God, I remember that. So he went from failing to qualify on a Monday the year before to winning. And Greg Armstrong, I'll give him credit. And CBS is way more important, but Greg's got a great shot of the range and the celebration. And he told me he was back in his basketball days where he was blocking out others to make sure he gets the good shot and stuff like that. So part of the
blocking out, that's a lost art, in basketball these days.
We should take Greg Armstrong with a camera on his shoulder and teach him how to do it. So it's coming quick. More memories, more awesome times will continue this year at Deere Run. Last but not least, you mentioned a bell that rings when something really good happens. Do you guys ring the bell when we officially said, "Hey, Dazzo's going to come back and do the show from my office"? Did you guys ring the bell?
No, we've got a second horn. It's the Debbie Downer. Wah, wah, wah.
Yep,
that one went off.
That's the one I got.
But no, look, in all seriousness, looking forward to having you back. And I just, two asks. Please clean up after yourself. No salsa left on the counter. And the bathroom behind me is off limits for you. You can go use one or the other.
I just don't want to get locked in it. Didn't you get locked in before?
Yeah. Now we're getting into the great oral history of the John Deere Classic. Yes. So Claire retires, and it was close. It was advanced week. I know it was advanced week of tournament because there's a video of me locked. So this is funny. There's a video of me locked in the bathroom.
Where is it?
I can share it with you.
I'll put it on the show. We'll make an open for you every time you come on. It'd be great.
Yeah. So
I don't want that.
I'm locked in there. The locking mechanism in the door has broke and it won't turn. So you can see the hinges are on the outside of the door. The door or the light, when you turn the light on, the fan there's only one switch. The fan is built into the light, and it's an 1852, office. Although this little part was added after, that fan is loud. So you can't hear anything. Somebody could sit here at my desk and be doing something. And I don't think you could hear it if you were in there. So I'm in there, the door won't open. I'm banging on it and no one's coming. And my phone is sitting on my desk right here.
Which
so
is good. Good for you. You didn't bring your phone into the bathroom. That shows class. Go on.
Yeah. So my phone is sitting here, and I'm turning the light off so I can hear. And all of a sudden I hear footsteps coming, and the floor is creaking here a little bit, and I hear footsteps coming, and it's our intern. And he goes all MacGyver on the situation. And of course, he's a 20-year-old kid. He doesn't know who MacGyver is, but he goes, I got a butter knife. And I said, well, we don't have real butter knives here. You got a plastic one? He said, yeah, I got a plastic one. So he's got a butter knife, a paper clip, a screwdriver, and something else. But the hinges, you can't get to the hinge. You can only try to pop the deals off. So he gets the pins out of the hinges, and we're going to shimmy the door open. Well, the locking mechanism is still in the lock, so you can't shimmy the door. Yeah. So I'm kind of like, putting a little elbow in the damn thing, trying to get it to budge, kicking it a few times. I broke the door. I cracked the door. Do you know the entire time what I had on my left wrist?
No.
An Apple Watch with cellular service that I could have made a phone call from at any time.
How'd you get out? How'd you get out?
We got the door off, but it still won't lock. The door is cracked at the bottom on the inside. And I text Claire and I'm like, hey, is this kind of some sort of sick joke that you didn't tell me the door, And he goes, it's a private bathroom, dude. I never locked the door. Why are you locking the door?
That's a good point. That's a good point.
And I said, I don't know. So the door is off at this point. It's no longer on the bathroom. And I will come down to the Stonehouse, as you now know, as a resident here during Tournament Week. I come down here quite a bit. I leave my computer connected down here, but I have my iPad and everything up in the trailer that I can get to emails pretty quickly. But I'll come down here if I need to do something. It's just less chaotic and it's quiet, and there's no door on the bathroom. So office is filled with windows. And during John Deere Classic Week, there are all kinds of people that cut different ways, and people will walk behind the Stonehouse all the time. So you had to be real strategic about what was going on during Tournament Week in the bathroom.
Yeah. So keep note of that. You can walk back. Now there's a door, unfortunately, so nobody will catch you.
There's a door, and on the inside of the door, there's a sign that says "Use at your own risk." That the intern Colin bought me.
That's
the
really
funny
good.
thing is, the sign was $10, then he paid $14 to have it shipped. So there's a $25 sign hanging on the other side of that door.
It's the best $25 he's ever spent. So John Deere
I think
Classic,
I didn't want him spending his money.
John Deere Classic coming up in 4 weeks. We'll be running crazy and having a bunch of fun out there. Thanks for joining me, buddy. Have a more chill weekend, okay?
I got to get out of town to a wedding this weekend, so
probably good timing.
I think the wedding's coming at an okay time.
I love it. See you, pal. Be good.
Bye.
All right, that is Andrew Lehman with Story Time with Andrew Lehman when it comes to some bathroom fun. And then, of course, reiterating what we just kind of talked about at the beginning, nothing is to the reports that the John Deere Classic is going to Chicago, and I loved playing the game. I love John Deere Classic Week. I love the history of it, and I've enjoyed obviously covering it for as long as we have, and I've gotten to, and thrilled to get to go back out there again. Off the Air will be live from Andrew's office out there Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of John Deere Classic Week at 10 a.m. It will be a a bunch of fun. I promise you that. We got more to get to coming up. After the break, we will talk a little bit about the memorial going on this week. Right now out in Ohio, our good friend Bobby Metcalf is there. Plus, we'll talk Bears with him as well because Caleb Williams is on the cover of Madden. We'll talk all about that and much more right here on OTA. For over 65 years, Lindquist Ford has proudly served the Quad Cities. And they're just getting started. Looking for a new ride? Check out a healthy mix of new and quality pre-owned vehicles ready for you. Need service? Skip the waiting room. With free pickup and delivery and mobile service, they come to you. No delays, no hassle. From routine maintenance to a full-service collision repair shop, it's fast, friendly, reliable, and always transparent. Lindquist Ford, serving the Quad Cities since 1959. Experience the difference today.
Hey, I'm the Crawford guy.
Ooh, do you guys always speak at the same time?
Sorry, guys. I'll go first. You know, if you need help with your heating or air conditioning, or electrical, or plumbing, Crawford Company can solve your problem.
But what about your problem?
What problem?
Do you not hear yourselves? Take it from me, the Crawford lady.
And me, the Crawford guy.
Crawford is the comfort company.
This summer, light the fuse on something bigger than fireworks. It's red, white, and you at the John Deere Classic. July 1st through 5th with world-class golf and 4th of July energy you can feel. Wednesday is Youth Day and kids 15 and under get in free with a paid adult. After golf, concerts on the course rocks the weekend. Carrie Underwood, headlines, and All-American 4th of July celebration. And Old Dominion closes out Sunday. Stars, stripes, summer tradition. Get tickets now before they're gone at johndeereclassic.com.
Welcome back to Off Day with Matt Randazzo here on a Thursday in the Quad Cities. Let's stick with the golf theme so far today. Of course, we've talked a lot of John Deere Classic. That's coming up at the beginning of July. At the beginning of June, the PGA calendar turns its focus to Columbus, the Columbus area, Dublin, Ohio to be specific, and of course the Memorial. And we got a familiar face that's chilling in Columbus, working in Columbus these days. Bobby Metcalf joins us right now on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. You are actually at the Memorial as we speak. Happy Golf Thursday, my friend.
Happy Golf Thursday. It's a beautiful day out here in Dublin, Ohio, and yeah, we're getting ready. The Memorial's underway, and at Jack's place here at Muirfield Village. Beautiful out here, man.
I gotta ask you. I'm biased. We love the John Deere Classic. I know you love the John Deere Classic. Does it give you vibes of, like, what are the similarities when you get out to that course and cover it now, and maybe the differences between what we have here at Deere Run and what they have for the Memorial?
I mean, it's a golf course, right? It's a different feel. You know, I mean, I was at the Pro-Am yesterday, and you see, I mean, Peyton Manning, Chris Pratt, Rob Lowe, Pat Monahan, Dallas Clark was here. Just a lot of big names here at the Pro-Am. That's kind of the first thing you kind of notice. You know, obviously a signature event. You look at the field, Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, Cameron Young. I mean, I think 9 out of the top 10 people in the top 10 rankings are here. But it's a laid-back vibe, very similar to TBC Deere Run and Stildis. And then you do have Jack's shadow hanging over everything, which is kind of impressive. So
yeah, no, absolutely. You mentioned the names. It's a signature event. It's the best of the best in the world. We'll talk about that one and that event. Obviously, they're just going this morning. Your thoughts coming in? What do the people think there? What do the people expect there? What do you expect there when it comes to the Memorial this weekend?
Well, it's the 50th anniversary of the Memorial, so I mean, we had that at John Deere Classic a couple of years ago, and we saw how much that was celebrated. And here they're celebrating it, you know, a ton. Jack's been around a bunch this week, and just everyone's really excited. You know, it's been a long history of golf here at Muirfield Village. You know, Tiger's been here 1 to 3 times. So I mean, I think everyone's expecting a good event. You got Scotty and Rory in the same field, and Rory has been taking so much time off. This hasn't happened a lot except for the majors, so I think a lot of people are excited to see that. I think a lot of people are hoping there's going to be a playoff between him and, on Sunday. Obviously it's just getting underway. Rory's not teeing off for another hour or so, and Scotty's not until the afternoon. But I expect some big crowds here in the next couple of hours.
What is the buzz like when it comes to the crowd? Obviously, you're expecting it to come in. This is new to you. What are they used to? What do they expect? And you mentioned signature events and the names that you have. I'm sure they're going to flock to the course in droves this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, it's already packing up out here, and I think the biggest name to tee off right now so far has been Jason Day and Jordan Spieth. They're playing together right now. So I think it's going to be a zoo out here, especially this first couple of days. And if, where we expect Scotty and Rory and Cam Young to be at the top of the leaderboard, I think you're going to see some just enormous crowds. I mean, Jack has put a lot into this event, especially to make sure, because it's the 50th. I think it's going to be some great TV on Saturday and Sunday. I can tell you that much.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Bobby Metcalf joining us off day with Matt Randazzo. Bobby, you covered a ton of John Deere Classics. You're coming back to the Quad Cities next month to help work at the John Deere Classic and cover the John Deere Classic once again. Your thoughts on the rumored reports yesterday? Obviously, the reports that weren't true about going to Chicago. Andrew's been on the show. We've talked about it at length, but and now that you're not in the Quad Cities and you're around golf in another market, have you talked of the John Deere Classic with other people that aren't in the Quad Cities and their thoughts of what we do on the outside looking in, if that makes any sense?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little concerned. I was concerned when Rolap talked before the Players Championship, when he was talking about kind of his vision of moving to bigger markets. And I heard that kind of first thing I thought was, oh boy. And then you see what, came out earlier this week. And now I know what Andrew said, and I trust Andrew. I mean, he's the tournament director. He's going to know before anyone else. I'm a little concerned. I sat in on Rory's press conference yesterday, and, he's been such an ambassador for the game. And they kind of asked him about his thoughts on just the vision of, adding more big events and kind of all that. And he said something that perked my ears up. He said, I think a lot of the players prefer quality over quantity, which, if you read between the lines, that makes me a little concerned. I think the players, like Rory's caliber, want to play in these events. That's not knocking the John Deere Classic. I love the John Deere Classic. You know how much I love the John Deere Classic. I think it's an incredible tournament. I think it'd be a disservice to golf if they start tinkering with things like that. I think that a big selling point of the John Deere Classic is it's a chance to see young and up and comers. I mean, we saw Jordan Spieth, we saw Bryson DeChambeau, we saw I'm blanking.
Even Zach.
But yeah, Zach. When we saw Xander Schauffele there, Justin Thomas has been there. Stricker was huge, and he won 3 there. I mean, we've seen big, great golf there, and I think a big part of what the tour might be overlooking, if these rumors have any substantiation to them, is you're always going to have the diehard fans, and you're going to have the fans show up to these events. But I think the beauty of places like the John Deere Classic and TPC Deere Run is that's a chance for a town that doesn't get a tournament like that. Obviously we've had one, but it doesn't get an event like that very often, and you get a chance to come out and see people that even like the most fringe golf fans might have heard of, and you can grow the game that way. You can get young kids to come out. I bet you find 100, 500, 600, 700 kids maybe who were at TPC Deere Run in 2013, saw Jordan Spieth win and said, man, I want to do that, and got into the game of golf. And I think that's where you're selling everything with this long-term vision that Rolap seems to be rolling out.
No, I completely agree. And when you look at the fact that the thing that always struck me, Bobby, was any move of the John Deere Classic to Chicago, I think it's trying to, if you want that market, you're going to have an event in that market and not worry about the John Deere Classic, because the John Deere Classic is this. It's the fact that John Deere is a mile away with the headquarters. That was literally, you look at the fact that the land was purchased by Deere Run, by John Deere. So, and it's what we are here in the Quad Cities as well. Bobby Metcalf joins us on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. You have this event And then I've mentioned you're coming back home for the John Deere Classic. What are you looking forward to when you get back to the John Deere Classic, to that event? You've covered it for so many years with the Quad City Times and with WQAD. What are you most intrigued about by this year's version of the John Deere Classic?
I mean, first off, I'm just excited to come home. It's the first time I've been home since I moved out here.
And see me. I get you.
And see you.
There you go.
Yep. I'm intrigued. If based on what happened this month or this week, I'm kind of intrigued to see what the sort of talk is. You know how you're in the media center and people kind of talk a little bit. So I'm just, and that's not something we ever really go into, but I'm just kind of interested to hear that sort of stuff. And I'm just excited to see, people, friends, and great golf. That's an event that it's my favorite week of the year, and I worked really hard to angle to come back for it. I haven't had a chance yet to look at much of the field. I know I've seen some of the names committing, and I just don't know off the top of my head, but I know there's been some good names who've already committed. The concerts are going to be awesome, and I'm just excited to come back and work, but kind of be chill about it, because I can just kind of do my thing. I think I've earned enough trust where in my years of covering that and the year I've had out here where I can kind of come in and I know what we're doing. Corey and I work really well together, and just excited for kind of that vibe. There's a lot of new faces in the Quad Cities in the Quad City media, and I'm excited to just kind of be there and be a guide, a mentor, and help out as needed. So.
I love it. Bobby Metcalf joining us off there with Matt Randazzo. You're here, and you're my Bears guy, one of my Bears guys we talk about. So I have to bug you about something real fast. First, I'll do it in a fun way, and I don't know if you can see it. I know you're on your phone, but there's two covers. Your guy, Caleb Williams, is on the covers. We'll show both of them right now. There's the one with the Jordan-esque jump against the Packers with the pass over the skyline of Chicago, and then of course everybody loves this one too, Bobby. It's the Iceman in the cold shivers. I guess we'll have fun with it first before I tell you why I kind of get annoyed by it, and obviously everybody knows why I get annoyed by it. But first and foremost, if you had to pick a cover, Bobby, is there a cover you like over the other?
Probably the Iceman cover. I mean, that's cold. That's a cold cover. I'm excited. I think he's the first Bears player to ever be on a Madden cover. And I know you hear about the Madden jinx and whatever, but I mean, I remember having to stomach it when Favre was on the Madden cover and having to buy the game and just having to, it sickened me. So, you know what, some Packers fans can, or Lions fans or Vikings fans can kind of have to eat it for a year because he was the most electric, dynamic, exciting player, at least in the second half of the season last year. So,
okay.
I'm not surprised to be in the cover athlete.
Does he deserve to be on the cover?
Yes. I mean, the Madden cover is not necessarily about who the best player in football is. It's about who the most, exciting and most popular, most, who might sell the most tickets kind of guy is. I mean, look, Peyton Hillis was on the Madden cover, for crying out loud.
Oh man, I forgot about that.
So,
wow.
I mean, yeah. So the Madden cover has never been about who the absolute best player. And then here's the thing too. Like, if you asked me to rattle off every single Madden cover, I couldn't. I could tell you Calvin was on one. I know Ray Lewis was on one. Michael Vick, obviously. Favre. I think
good.
Larry Fitz and Troy Polamalu were on one together. But it's not one of those things where I'm going back, and it's not like Super Bowl where you rattle off every single one. This one I'm going to enjoy. I mean, I'm going to buy the game. I don't usually buy a lot of Maddens. I typically buy one every, 5-6 years for kind of an update. And this one I'll buy just because, Caleb's on the cover. So, no, is he the best player in the league? Could they put Myles Garrett on? Yeah, except he would have changed uniforms now. But, Myles Garrett, Matt Stafford, they could have put Jahmyr Gibbs on. But, I mean, I don't think there's anybody in the league right now who is who at least the NFL thinks is going to be this huge popular player.
You're right, and I completely agree. It's not about the best player; it's about the most popular, the most buzzworthy, if that makes any sense. Because there's a buzz. I don't always agree with the buzz, but the plays he made were exciting. Does that make sense? Like it wouldn't be as exciting if like they got up 21-0 every game and he was sitting in the fourth quarter and hanging out. He'd be good, but he wouldn't be the excitement that it was. That sparks the discussion that everybody has. And Bobby, I always preference this. This isn't simply bashing Caleb Williams. I think he's got a chance to be extremely good. I just don't think he's as good as everybody thinks he is yet. Of course, I think it was 7 games were won in the last 2 minutes or whatever it was. My concern with Caleb is that he made the plays that people remember in the late plays, and you can't take that away from him. That's a it factor that's super important. But when you're making great plays against the Bears in the fourth quarter with 2 minutes to go to score the game's first touchdown, that's weird to me. Am I warranted to say, like, Caleb Williams had a Ben Johnson-led offense, and he went 58 minutes without scoring a touchdown? That's concerning in a way, right?
Well, I will say that Ben, I think before last season, basically said we're going to strip Caleb down and then build him back up. So Caleb in his year 2 of a different of his third offense, because he had the Bears the year before were such a mess. And I think, no, he didn't get to 4,000 passing yards, but I think there was a lot of learning that Caleb had to do, and I think he was learning on the fly. And do you want to have not scored a touchdown until 58, until 2 minutes left against the Packers? No, but there are other factors all season. We look at his completion percentage. I will keep saying, if you actually watched, every Bears game, which not everyone's going to do, but I did. There were drops. There were drops from receivers. DJ Moore dropped passes with the burden.
But that's football.
I think he actually
there was also really bad throws.
There were some, but I think that a lot of that too is still learning that offense. Let's look at it this way. In year 1 of a Ben Johnson offense, in his third offense in 2 years, he took him to the NFC. He won a playoff game and almost really should have probably beat the Rams too, and should have gone to the NFC Championship game. So, I've heard some analysts say, "Oh, he's a top 5 quarterback," and I'm not ready to say that.
Okay.
Absolutely not. But I was thinking a couple weeks ago, where would I take him? And there's maybe like 8-9 quarterbacks I might take above him. So he might be a top 10 quarterback in my eyes. There's an argument to be had. I'm not saying he is, but
I feel like you can have that discussion about a top 10. I don't know and I didn't do the numbers, so I don't want to be that guy. That's the top 5 stuff silly. And again, I'm not saying that in 2 years if he does this, Bobby, I'm going to get so much crap. And that's fine, but I'm saying as of right now, the reason there's the excitement and the Madden cover and the buzz is because of the crazy comebacks he made late in games. But the you watched every game. The overall the Lions game, the last week of the year, with the Lions resting a lot of starters on defense, not a lot, but some on defense because they were not going to make the playoffs. They had no points going into the fourth quarter against the Lions defense, which not saying it's a bad defense, but it's not the best. That's weird to me. I just think it's incomplete. He's got to become a lot more consistent in order to be mentioned in the top 5 in the league. Can he become that? Absolutely. But after a while, he's not the youngest quarterback in football anymore. He's still played a lot of football in college. He's still played a lot of football. Now he's on year 3, and you know how that goes. You're expected to hit the ground running in this league and not just have to wait till year 3. Okay, I want to do this with you. I know you're busy. You got work to do, and we can argue about football some other time. I can't wait. Football's going to be so fun. Can you rank, let's go 4 to 1, as of right now, and I don't know how to even define this, the best quarterbacks in the NFC North, as of right now. I'm not saying in 3 years you want this guy or in 2 years you want this guy. If you're going into the season right now, who's the best quarterbacks in the NFC? Let's go 4 to 1, and I'll give you mine.
All right. Well, 4 is whoever the Vikings play.
Which is Kyler, right?
Or JJ.
It's
Kyler or
right?
JJ. I don't care who it is.
Yeah.
Probably. But, I don't care who it is.
Yeah.
Probably. But, and then honestly, man, I think the top three are a toss-up. Like, I really do. I think that if you ask me one day, I could say, yeah, Jared Goff is. I mean, Jared Goff has accomplished the most. He's been to a Super Bowl, been in the NFC Championship game. There are some. Anyone who's not a Lions fan will say there's some questions about Jared Goff, and I know you'll say, go
What
to
are
heck.
what are those questions?
How much is he a product of, what was Ben Johnson's offense, because he was not this in LA.
Well, he was,
how much is
except for the last year, but there were several years that he was pretty good.
He was okay in LA. He was not worthy of a number one overall draft pick.
Well, he took a team to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That year that they did, he was really good. Yeah, he was bad in the Super Bowl, but he fell off in LA. I'm not arguing his LA years, but go ahead.
Look, my point is, Jared Goff has accomplished more than Caleb. Jordan Love has had better seasons than Caleb. But I think you look at, and again, I say you don't want to say 3 years down the road, but I will say, like, you look at Caleb and I say, give me that guy, because he has less wear and tear. He's already,
but just for this year,
accomplished that.
Not for the overall future. Because obviously you're going to want a 20. What's Caleb? 25?
24, I think. Yeah.
I mean, Jared's 30. So, like, yeah, obviously for the future.
Okay, so here's my so are you talking in the Bears offense, or are we talking about like wanting?
I don't think it matters. I think the Bears offense is the Lions offense. I mean, they kind of did the same thing. They just didn't run the ball as well because the offensive line was gone. Jared Goff's numbers last year was 68% completion percentage, 4,500 yards passing, 34 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Like, there's not that's like, he's the best quarterback in the division. He didn't make the crazy comebacks. Unfortunately, they weren't. They scored points before that, so they didn't have to sometimes do that. He has done those kind of things. And I'm a Matt Stafford guy, and Matt Stafford, what Caleb did last year reminds me of what Matt Stafford did in his past, if that makes any sense, when it comes to, making crazy comebacks and all that. I just think for me, and you're right, it's Kyler as 4. And then, he worries me a little bit. He does concern me a little bit because O'Connell does stupid things with quarterbacks that aren't supposed to be that good. But I still have Goff 1, flip a coin. I'll give it to Caleb. Caleb 2, and Packers fans might not like this, but look at what he did against you last year. How do you have the guy who made game-winning plays in overtime and in the fourth quarter, how do you not give him the nod over the guy that wasn't there in one of the games and didn't finish the job in the other? So I'll give it to Caleb, but I still think, numbers are numbers, and it's you can't fault a guy because he's got. It's not like Caleb doesn't have good players around him. His offensive line is probably the best in the division, right?
We'll see. There's some shakeup this year, obviously.
I hope it's not. I hope it's horrible. I hope it's the worst offensive line in the history of football, but it's pretty good. And he's got a good running game. I think that's the key, is that Caleb got a running game last year, and that made it so he didn't have to do everything on his own. And obviously that helps Jared Goff as well. We'll argue about this in the fall, but again, mine would be Jared, and weigh in, yell at me on the threads, all those kind of things. But you're right, Bobby. The Madden stuff, the Madden cover is about popularity. And man, it's nauseating to me, but he's popular as all can be. So and there's nothing wrong with that. When you make plays the way he made plays late in games against your rivals, I'm not arguing that by any stretch.
That's the thing. You're right. He is on the cover not because he won games. He's on the cover because of the couple of throws against the Packers, the throw against the Browns. Just the amazing throws he's making. That's why he's so popular, is because he's doing things that like Mahomes did. And might even say maybe a little more electrifying. I'm not saying he's better than Mahomes, but I
think the plays, that's the thing. The flash is if you're any fan in this league and you're playing the Bears this year and you're down 10 points going to the fourth quarter, you don't feel comfortable. But you got to figure out a way how you're not down 10 points going to the fourth quarter. I think that's the key. Because the schedule gets harder.
The Rams are so The Rams are so scared of Caleb Williams, they went out and got Myles Garrett and sold the farm for Myles Garrett. That's how scared they are of Caleb Williams.
That's not why they did it. You know better than that. Hey, let's wrap up with golf, and then I'll get you back to work and all this. I could talk to you forever. In fact, I'm going to convince you to come on when you're back in the Quad Cities, at least once. But give me a pick for the Memorial that you like. Give me a pick and a sleeper. Can you do that? Like a pick that you think wins it, but give me a sleeper that maybe not everybody's talking about that you might like this week.
Like, I want Rory to win. I mean, I think that'd be awesome. He has never won here. He's just never, but it's weird. He was talking about how this course is just kind of weird for him because even though it's a long course, he never drives the ball well here. But I think, I'm looking at him right now. I think the favorite, in my opinion, is Cameron Young. He's standing on the practice screen about
I'm looking
30
at
yards
him
away
right
from me.
now. You're so cool.
So, I mean, here, I'll do it right there. There he is right there. So,
don't get yourself in trouble.
Yeah, no. So, I mean, he's been playing such good golf this year. I mean, they could have had a major under his belt, won TPC. I just think he's my favorite by far. A sleeper. I mean, I think a guy like Siwoo Kim could be really, really good here. So that's probably where I would go.
I love it. Hey, first Polar Pop is on me. First Hungry Hobo run is on me, and we'll get the other good stuff that you might miss here in the Quad Cities as well. Bobby, appreciate it. Enjoy it. You're fancy. You look big time. I feel like I'm interviewing like a star at a country club right now. Mr. Metcalf, I appreciate your time.
It was crazy yesterday. Being a stone's throw away from Chris Pratt and Rob Lowe, that was something I didn't think I would be doing a year ago. So it was fun.
I love it.
So.
Hey, enjoy the weekend, and we'll catch up with you a little closer to the John Deere Classic as well. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, can't wait.
All right, that is Bobby Metcalf, former longtime sports writer here in the Quad Cities, works out in Columbus now, covering the Memorial right now, and then, of course, head back to the John Deere Classic as well, and going to help cover that as well. We'll catch up with Bobby as it gets moving, but good stuff on the Memorial, good thoughts on the John Deere Classic. It's going to be an interesting time in golf, but again, the stuff that's come out now is just simply not true. And we're focused on an awesome year of golf at Deere Run here in the Quad Cities. And then I got to always argue Bears. And jump on the chat or wherever. I'm not a Caleb Williams hater. I do get annoyed that I think he's overhyped. And the good stuff is the good stuff, and I can't argue that. But I can show you where, again, against the Lions in week 18 of the season, they don't score. How does a Ben Johnson-led offense not score a point in 3 quarters against the Detroit Lions? A point! And you can go to the playoff game, against the Rams. It's just, that's the stuff that doesn't connect to me. And it might this year. And people can say, shut up, it will. And it might. It absolutely could. And it could be really annoying for me, but it didn't last year. The hype plays, the great plays are obviously, you cannot take that away, but there's a lot of flash. The substance has to get better, in my opinion, this year as well. God, I can't wait for football season. We got more to get to. You're watching OTA. It's a Thursday right here in the Quad Cities. We'll be right back. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo. Now even easier to find, but still hard to resist.
Rafferty Funeral Home, dedicated to serving families in the Quad Cities since 2007.
Hi, welcome. Hi. Here, come on in.
An experienced staff plans each service to reflect the unique life and legacy of your loved one. Rafferty Funeral Home is proud to serve our community with dignity, respect, and compassion, helping you to celebrate your traditions and lasting memories no matter your faith, culture, or budget. Rafferty Funeral Home in Moline, Call today to discuss prearrangements.
When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with. Welcome back to Update with Matt Randazzo here on a Thursday in the Quad Cities. A Friday for us. A friendly reminder, no show tomorrow. OTA will take a Friday off. I've got some things to get done in Iowa City, so I'm going to spend my Friday up in Iowa City eating lunch with the great Corey Sheets. I'm pretty excited about that as well. So no show tomorrow. We'll be back ready to rock with a brand new episode coming up on Monday as well. Normally on Fridays, we try to kind of look back at some of the fun that we've had during the week here on OTA. So wanted to take a minute and kind of do that with you real quick. On Monday, great show. North Boys Soccer on the show. We also had Fulton Baseball on the show as well. And we had Joe Wieskamp on the show. And of course, Joe will be having a camp in Muscatine coming up later this month. We talked to him about his 5th year playing professional basketball. And then we also talked a lot about the Iowa Hawkeyes and the fact that they went to the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8. And so here's Joe kind of talking about Iowa Hoops, a team and a university they played for 3 years. And obviously he's a Fran guy. He was recruited and played for Fran, but here are his thoughts on the Iowa Hawkeyes this past season.
Moving forward with the Iowa program, I think obviously in year one just did a tremendous job, and it's going to continue to build from there. I like a lot of the things that he's, saying and trying to bring the crowd back into the game. I think will make a huge difference because Carver has the ability to be such a great atmosphere and be such an advantage for us that if we can really tap into that, I think he's doing a great job just, getting the fan support. So